FX Gay TV. I'm Dr. Charley, and here to interview some of our wonderful New York artists and photographers. So thank you for tuning in. Also, don't forget you can go to our website, fxgaytv.com or frutaextrañastrangefruit.com and get information, also see our shows and get wonderful information about the things that are coming up and where we're filming. Don't forget to watch us in New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut, and of course all over the world on the internet. Thanks. Hi, welcome. Today I have Ricardo Francis with me. He's from Houston, Texas, and also via Panama, so he's another Latino that we have here. And we're talking about his art and some of the wonderful things that he's done with his art. And actually we have one of his pictures here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about you and what about your art? How long have you been doing this?
I've been an artist since I would say about 4 years old. That's when I knew, like, cosmically, like, that was my life path. That's what I wanted to do. But in terms of painting, I didn't really start until I was about 14. And I had a middle school art teacher, John Gaines. One day he said, "You're going to be a painter." And I was like, no, I want to continue drawing comic books and working in that thing. And he's like, "No, you're going to be a painter. I'd see you more as one." And he took me to the side and he really kind of coached me into thinking about color, composition, technique, that kind of thing. And after a while, I began to really like it, and that's what I ended up becoming.
And you became an artist, a painter.
Yes.
And you have exhibits not only here in New York City, but you also have them in Miami. And I understand that you're going with Leo to Dubai and Shanghai, and you're going to Basel, the art fair in Basel in Miami as well. And you're exhibiting your work everywhere. One of the things I always wonder is, as a kid, were you also like drawing on the walls and making pictures on the wall and having a family call?
I was drawing on the walls, I was drawing in books, I was drawing on little scrap pieces of paper. Anything where I could put an image on it, I did it.
And where do you get your inspiration for your paintings?
People and nature. Definitely people and nature. And specifically, men is my sort of primary focus because I feel that as a man, I feel that we in many ways, especially in most societies, what we symbolize is always very objective. And we're not seen as people or real, or that we go through things, or that we have any emotions.
So you're feeling that men are more objectified than anything else, and you're not allowed to have those emotions?
You're not allowed to have any level of sensitivity and any level of depth to one's character and that kind of thing. So.
And you did a whole series on naked men, didn't you? And it was very controversial, I understand, in Houston.
Well, to me it wasn't.
Tell me about that. Well, you know, as artists, we never see our work as being controversial. Right. We always see it as, you know, it's just art. But what was controversial about it? Why don't you explain to me a little bit? And I think we actually have a copy of the picture that was in question that became very controversial, the Saint. Is that correct?
Harlem, yes.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about that? And I'm sure Eric is going to give us a copy of the picture. So tell me a little bit about it.
Actually, a good friend of mine, Lauren Kelly, who works as a curator at a university back in Houston, Prairie View A&M University. At that time, she had put together a show called Church Incorporated, and basically it's images about specifically the Black church that was, you know, it was inspired of the idea of art and how art responds to religion, basically. And one of the paintings she chose, it's interesting, she chose the painting along with a few others that I had in the beginning of that series, actually, and sent the work to Houston, you know, and thought everything would be fine. And then she called me one day and she was like, "Ricardo, I hate to tell you this, but the painting of the nude was taken out." And I was like, "Why?" And then she told me why. And I understood, you know, but at the same time, it just, you know.
And you wonder why, what was behind it, whether they were embarrassed because you had, you know, a man and a black man at that doing and I believe it was like this, like a saint. And there was also the mention of you had a very long penis on the picture too, so that was part of the controversy that was having.
I mean, it wasn't. It just,
Okay.
you know, it was, as you would see in any typical painting in a museum of a male nude or a female nude, it was.
Yeah.
Just
Well, because if you look at the statue of David, I mean, he actually has a very small phallus, you know, whereas some pictures of men, especially black men, have that longer penis. They have a longer feature, a longer appendage, you know. You know how that one commercial goes, you know, that part of your anatomy. Also, maybe the idea of how you play with the image of religion as well. Take this one, for example. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this picture and how it came to be? Because I actually, when I was looking at this, I'm like, I recognize the person in that picture.
It's me.
Which is you.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about this picture.
Actually, this one, it was the day that I thought I actually died, and that my soul was going somewhere else. So I completely didn't know what was happening. But I've been diabetic since I was 6 years old, and there were times where I've had insulin reactions where my blood sugar was so low that my mind was completely somewhere else. But this time, I just felt like I'd already passed over, or was passing over into another spiritual plane or some other place. And as soon as I gained consciousness and got control of myself, and I sat down and I thought about it, I was like, you know, I'm gonna do a self-portrait as Saint Sebastian. That was the first instant idea that I had. Because me, I had to take insulin injections several times a day. So visually,
And Saint Sebastian is known for?
He was a Catholic priest that was who died in a hail of arrows.
Yeah.
And I mean, that image has been repeated countless times by artists.
Yeah, and for you, the arrows are symbolic because it can be kind of like the syringe and stuff, and the injections that you have to take for your diabetes.
Which I dread.
Which you dread. And we were talking about, you know, diabetes being like the lover you can never get rid of. You know, it's always there. It's
The lover you don't want to have.
And the lover you don't want to have, the stalker. But I want to thank you so much for being with us here today. And again, how can people get in touch with you if they wanted to get information about your art? Or I know that they have to go through Leo to book you on your artwork, but how can they get in touch with you if they'd like that? Your phone number, your website where they can go to?
Go through Leo first.
So give me his info.
It would be Leonidesarts. Leonidesarts New York, right? .com.
Okay.
And then also the email address is thebache, which is THEBACHE @msn.com. And his phone number is 646-739-6901.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us and
Thank
for
you.
your beautiful work.
Thank you very much.